Hey everybody, and welcome to another episode of Magic with Zuby. My name is Zuby, and if you're brand new to this show is all about a little well-known card game called Magic the Gathering. So, what is going on today? Today we have a very amazing interview. I interviewed Chase, aka at Manacurves, who is seen on Twitter, Twitch, and now she just has a YouTube channel. She also has a Magic the Gathering podcast as well called Best of Three, which can be found on Twitter at Listen2BO3. And she's just an all-around really awesome person. She also writes some Magic articles as well too, called Cabal Therapy. Had a really awesome time. It is a little bit of a long interview, but it's very well worth it. I enjoyed the hell out of the interview, and she's a very awesome, amazing person as well too. So before we begin, let's just get some stuff out of the way here. If you want to help support Magic with Zuby, you can help support Magic with Zuby on Patreon at patreon.com/magicwithzuby. The link is in the description below. Magic with Zuby is now finally on Spotify. Finally, I've been trying to get it on for years, and I didn't realize this year they changed the podcast submission guidelines, and it went up like that instead of me waiting for months and nothing happened. So Magic with Zuby can be found on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, TuneIn Radio, and Spotify. Also on YouTube. Just search for Magic with Zuby on YouTube if you're watching this video. And then also, this podcast is also sponsored by LegitMTG.com. LegitMTG.com is the best place to buy Magic singles and sealed product out there. Any order over $2 or more has free shipping at LegitMTG.com. And yeah, so let's get on with the interview, and I hope you enjoy it. So, okay, we're starting here. So, Zuby here, and I have on with me tonight Chase, aka might know her also as Manacurves, you do a lot of stuff. You have another podcast called, what is it? Best of Three podcast. I was almost reading the Twitter name. Listen to Best of Three.
Yeah, it's hard to, you want to say listen to Best of Three a lot.
Yeah, so Best of Three podcast, which it looks like it just debuted this year. And then you also have a Twitch stream, which it looks like it's picking up a lot of steam. And then I noticed you just released a YouTube channel. Looks like you're starting to put some of your streams on there. The other thing that I also like that you've done is the Cabal Therapy columns that you did on Master of Magics. Looks like it's been a couple months since you've written your last one, but I really did enjoy them. So I guess to start off with, how's it going?
It's good. Extremely tired. Extremely stressed. Super busy schedule, but I'm making it work as best I can. And I just had like some nitro from Starbucks, so I'm like feeling it right now. Like I'm in my like space where I'm like, yeah, I can do anything and everything. So I'm like super chipper.
That's awesome. I'm not too much of a coffee drinker. I'm definitely more of, I'll have an energy drink once in a while, and that's like, I can't go to sleep at that point. It's, I wish I liked coffee because I love the smell of it, but I've tried it every other way, and I just can't stand the taste of it no matter how I've tried it.
Yeah, I am a bit of a fiend with coffee because I part-time at a Starbucks, and it used to be now that it would be like very bitter to me. And I would just get like a latte, which is like shots, maybe some flavoring and milk. And now I just get straight up like shots with like some flavoring, no milk, and just drink it like that. And I'm a monster because I usually, I'm cutting back now, but my amount of shots a day was like 7 to 8 shots a day.
Oh man,
it's a lot of espresso.
That's a lot of caffeine. Oh man. I mean, I do have to say, I do like the artwork you have behind you right there, the Black Lotus.
Yeah, it's part of my little overlay.
it's really awesome. My wife, she actually got a Black Lotus tattoo, and it's really, really awesome. So I guess to start off with, I guess I want to know, how long have you been doing content creation? Because I remember you sort of popping up on the Twitter scene, and then I don't remember exactly when you started streaming or really doing a lot of the other stuff. So take us through when you started doing that.
So it's been a little bit weird because by definition of content creation is constantly changing. I'm like very self-critical So for a while, I kind of defined it as just me being myself on Twitter and on the internet and just kind of doing jokey things and stuff like that. And that was kind of what I defined as content creation for a while. But then like slowly after time, I started to kind of beat myself up a little bit as I tend to do. And I was like, okay, I want to do more with this. So I believe, yeah, I did start I did the articles first, Cabal Therapy, which was absolutely fantastic because mental health is something that's really important to me and something that I have been studying for, this will be technically 6 years, so a really long time. And so I wanted to integrate two things I loved a lot, and I was able to do that with Master Magics, and it was absolutely fantastic to do that. And then after that, I wanted to branch out and do more, but I didn't really have the means to do so, and I was kind of struggling with that. So I ended up starting a podcast with two of my friends who are local to my area, Mike and Jose. They are my co-hosts on Best of Three. Shout out to Mike and Jose. Mike is at O'Malley, and Jose is Tired Tracker. I believe it's Tired Tracker.
Yes,
if I get that wrong, he's going to be mad at me.
Yeah, that's what it looks like. It's at O'Malley _ then at Tired Tracker.
It took us forever to come up with a username for Jose because we were like, get on Twitter, and he's like, I don't know what I'm going to be. And Mike was like, dude, just choose this one. He's like, it's perfect. And then I started doing Best of Three because Mike is a judge at my LGS.
Oh, nice.
And he was like, I really want to get back into podcasting. You know, he posted on Facebook. And I was like, I really want to do this. Like, please include me. And then he picked me up. He picked Jose up. And we were like, we really want to be consistent with this. We don't want this to be something that like we talk about doing and then we do maybe twice and then we stop. And so now we're consistently doing it. And for all of us, that's really fantastic because we hold each other accountable.
That's good. That's good.
And as for streaming, I started streaming in, I want to say, mid-August of this year. I started streaming.
Oh, okay. I feel like you did it longer than that.
Yeah, I know, right? I'm like 99% sure. I know it was in August because I remember I was like, I need a desktop. And I was like, I'll ask for a desktop for my birthday. So it was like, it's really hard to pin it down because I was very dumb and did not figure out how to archive my streams until like 2 weeks ago. So I just figured out how to do that. But I'm pretty sure it was like early mid-August. I know it was in somewhere in August. I know I started there. Now I feel really bad for not knowing my start. I should probably Google it.
That's fine.
But I did that and it was absolutely fantastic because a lot of people helped get me to where I am now where I can stream because I certainly did not have the means to do it. When I first started streaming, I had a jerry rig of like my old laptop that was like over 5 years old that if you took the charger out, it would die immediately. Yep. This wonderful webcam a friend gave to me. And that was it. I was struggling until I was able to get this desktop as a birthday gift. Thanks, Dad. Awesome, yeah.
Shout out to the parents right there.
Yeah, right. And then my monitor exploded, so I had to buy a new one. And thank God for credit cards, because that's how I was able to afford it.
Yeah. Be careful with those. Don't overspend too much.
Oh, I know. Honestly, that's like been looming over my head. Yeah.
It gets so easy to just like, yeah, I'll pay for it later, and then you're like, oh shit, now I'm like 10 grand in debt. Not speaking of experience or anything like that. No.
And then I was picked up by Mage Market. Backtracking a little bit, I got picked up by Mage Market. I want to say late July, because I'm pretty sure it was like late July because then the August period rolled around, and we go by a monthly thing. And they were absolutely like Mage Market is absolutely fantastic. Not saying that for the whole sponsorship thing, but Mage Market has seriously contributed to my confidence and my growth as a streamer or content creator. They're very supportive, not in terms of just like, like sponsored content, but they like really like encourage you as a person. And for someone like me who's not like a competitive player, who I feel like is like sort of like the average Magic player, it meant like the world to me, having them like take some interest in me and what I do. So that was like really big for me.
So do they help you out in, well, I guess what I mean by helping out, do they work with you a lot
Mhm.
one-on-one or?
Yeah, so Mage Market, you usually see their Twitter and you think, oh, it's just like a big company, but really,
Yeah.
when I interact with them, it's on like a one-on-one. Like, I will literally just like pull up Twitter, and I'll like I'll like DM Pierre and I'll be like, hey, I have this really cool idea for something. Do you want to do this? And he's like, yeah, I really like that idea. Or I'll like message Daniel and I'm like, okay, like these are these things that I wrote. Like, I really want your opinion on them. And like he'll like message me back and like they're very serious about the whole like it's not just like you get like a robot sort of answer or you get
Yeah.
like business days. Like they really take the time to like listen to you, which is absolutely fantastic and I really appreciate that.
Well, no, that's good. I I feel like I remember them because I feel like I remember Mage Market. They were another company or they had another website before this, and I cannot remember what it
Snap
was.
Cardster, I think it was.
That yeah, I think that's what it was.
Yeah.
That's what it was. It. And I
Hmm.
have not. I mean I've seen their website.
Hmm.
I haven't really checked out their iOS app because I've heard the what do you call it, the card scan is supposed to be really good on the
It's
smartphones.
phenomenal. Oh my God. Like I'm really trying to like convey how genuine I am about it
Well,
because
no,
it
and
actually is
this
like
isn't a
so
paid
good.
sponsor. This
No,
isn't
it's
like
not.
she told
Like
me to say any of this. It's just I'm more curious for my own self. It's more
it's
than anything.
fantastic. It's so good. Like it picks up everything. Like I actually have a playmat with some magic art on it and
Hmm.
I like pulled out like I pulled my deck out and I had the app up and I like had my phone hovering and it read the art on the playmat and pulled up the card. Like it's a very responsive function that I was really surprised about because there's a lot of other apps that I used to use where the function would be either very wrong or you would have to have it against like a blank surface and it would like you have to have no sleeve, you have to make sure that the lighting's right and that there's no glare, and this thing just reads it perfectly.
Oh, that's
Honestly, that's
awesome.
like my favorite thing is that it's just really seamless, which is kind of phenomenal to me because scanning cards is a bit of a difficult time for me
Oh
at
yeah,
my
it.
LGS. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's something that I know I've tried so many other apps to do because you want to
Mhm.
sell collections online or at least get an inventory of what you have. And I know I've tried many other apps and they just always seem to be terrible. And so you end up, so if you're like me, you end up opening up a spreadsheet and just typing out each one by one and then wanting to shoot yourself in the head because you like
Yeah.
realize, oh, I have 1,000 cards I need to inventory right now.
Yeah, it's a lot. As for like other content creation, I also have a Patreon, which really is kind of where I post. I want to do more stuff like Cabal therapy on there, but I am just so busy in like every
Oh, I
aspect of my
know.
life. So I'm really trying to like do things on there that are fun and magic related, make me happy.
Yeah.
So like I've been posting a lot of like popper deck guides on there.
Awesome.
I also have just started recently like posting work in progress like EDH lists that
Hmm.
I'm making because I find that I like the creative process of making an EDH deck, but I really like it when I get input from other people. And I thought like it would be really great to like get the people who, like really want to like see my work with me. Like I just thought that was
Yeah.
really fun and like the ideas and like it's really cool. And I also post I have a more fun, comprehensive deck guide. And so I want to write more of those because it was absolutely a blast to write. Um, but it was very time consuming. It took me about like a week or two
Yeah.
just to get it to where I wanted it to be because the goal of it was it was about, I want to say like 11 pages
Hmm.
long.
Oh
And it
wow.
was like you're supposed to like pick it up. And if you have never seen the card before, don't know the card, like you know how to play Magic, but you don't know the card, you don't know the deck, you pick up my deck guide, you read it from cover to cover, and you could pilot the deck immediately and pilot it well. And that was like the number one goal for me was to make sure that that was something that someone could do. Is particularly with a card like that where it's like a little bit like wonky because
Yeah.
it's like he's just so up in the air with whatever you can do. And it was absolutely fantastic because I submitted that for the Commander versus like deck submission thing, and
Hmm.
it didn't get picked for the deck submission episode, but it did get used for that Morphon versus Morphon versus Morphon versus Morphon episode.
Oh, that's
And
awesome.
Steve Reed played it, and it was like, was like so exciting because I got a message and they were like, I think he's playing your deck right now. And I was like, oh my God. It
That's
was like really
awesome.
exciting for me because that was something that I put like my heart and soul into because I like immediately started building when it was spoiled, like out of the gate. I was ready for it.
Oh man, that's awesome. So I want to get into Cabal therapy a little bit here.
Yeah.
You mentioned that you've been studying mental health. Is that some?
Yeah.
What are you? Is that something you're going to school for? Or?
Yes. So I graduated in God, my brain, 2018. Yes, I almost said 2014. I'm like, nope, that was high school. 2018 with a bachelor's of psychology with a minor in German.
Okay.
Unrelated, but I think it's just cool to say. And well, it's a fun language and I miss speaking it because I have like no one here to speak it with, and it's like
Oh, are you
really
fluent in
cool.
it?
Yes.
Oh, nice, nice.
Mhm. Ooh.
Have you
And
been to Germany?
no, I want to go so bad. I had a family who like lived in Germany for a while. Family that was born in Germany, and kind of grew up there a little bit, and then they came
Hmm.
here, and I want to go really badly. And I'm actually trying to see if I can do like a family trip around like December, so we can go to the Weihnachtsmarkt, which will be really cool.
Oh, that'll be
They're like
fun.
Christmas markets,
Yeah.
and they're like really like cool and gorgeous and beautiful, and they sell like cute little stuff. It's gonna be really cool. So that's like a hope for me.
Oh, that's awesome.
But yeah, but then after I graduated with my bachelor's, I decided to move on and get my master's. And I'm currently getting my master's in social work right now, which is 2 years. So I'm in my final year, and it is like the home stretch. It's been absolutely exhausting, but I'm really excited to be done with it, more so that I can actually start like practicing.
So,
And I. Mhm.
well, no, I was gonna ask. So, is that something that are you wanting to try to be a social worker, or are you trying to like maybe get into psychology, like a psychologist, or?
So when you think social worker, people usually think of like one thing, which
Yeah.
is stealing children, like
Yeah.
child
Yeah.
protective
Yeah.
services.
Working for child
And
services.
that
Yeah.
is actually, yeah, like that's really not the case. So when I was originally researching all the masters that I could do, a lot of the masters that I was looking at originally were heavily research based, which meant that a portion of my training and my time in my master's program would be done researching.
Hmm.
And research is very important in a field like this, where we are constantly learning new techniques and learning new therapies and modalities and working with people in different populations. It's important. But that's not what I wanted to do. I wanted to have that connection. I wanted to have that immediate sit down, let's talk. I want to help you. Like I wanted to work with people. And so I discovered social work. And when you think social work, you usually think like the whole, child protective services thing.
Yeah.
But really in social work, it is one of the most diverse degrees you can get in mental health because with a social work degree, we're trained in a number of things. So we're primarily trained to, in my program at least, different modalities of therapy, working with a variety of populations, be them like substance use, adolescents, adults, geriatrics. We kind of choose what we want. And then we work with that and learn about diagnosing, treatment, stuff like that. There are some people who want to do school social work, which is sort of like, like be like a school social worker, which is pretty much a school counselor.
Yeah.
And so there are some people who are interested in doing that. Now, in the social work degree, you can graduate with your master's and you can get your licensure, which makes you a licensed clinical social worker, which gives you a lot more letters at the end of your name, like when you graduate.
Oh yeah.
But it also opens up more avenues for you. So, for instance, when I graduate, I can immediately start working as a therapist. I can immediately start working as a substance use counselor. I could immediately start working in geriatrics. I could start working as a case manager. I can work for the legal system. I could actually work for the FBI or the
Oh,
CIA. They have
nice.
social work positions available there for trauma counselors. Like it's you can do anything with it, and that's what drew me to it because my original going into psychology for my bachelor's, I was like, I don't know what I want to do. If I ever want to like be like a, like a sit down therapist, that's not me. I'm never going to do that. And then like the last year I was like, crap, I want to do that. So that's kind of what it is for me. And currently I've had 3 internships And each one I have been sort of that sit down sort of therapist that I have wanted to be. And it
Mm-hmm.
has been a very like hard in terms of like mental and emotional time for me in the best of ways because it's helped me grow as a person, not only in my understanding of mental health and but also myself.
So
And
you
I'm like
interning.
super happy with it.
So with you interning, you'd sit in with an actual therapist and
Yeah,
or
so pretty much how it starts out, I so at my first internship, I was an undergrad and I just kind of like shadowed people, walked
yeah,
around, asked questions, learned what they did, like the basic like we're not
yeah.
gonna let you do anything kind of thing. Then in my master's program, that's kind of what it so in my master's program, my first internship was very training intensive. They're very training intensive. Um and pretty much you start working for free, of course. But
Yeah.
they literally teach you what you need to do. You meet with, start shadowing a lot, and then you start practicing very, very, very slowly. And I mean, baby steps. My first internship, I only had one client, and it was very like constant supervision, constantly me,
Yeah.
like, going and asking questions. Like you can, like, it's not like, oh, you're just like thrown, to the wolves
Yeah,
and good luck. It's like,
that'd be a bit scary.
yeah. Yeah, so it's like a constant like training, constant supervision. I have about, I want to say like four supervisors. Uh, it's a lot.
Yeah, oh
So I'm
yeah.
constantly working with a lot of people. And that kind of goes the same for where I am now, is constantly doing training seminars, learning, getting certified in those training seminars while I'm a student because the fees are like almost non-existent. Just kind of going through that and just like learning and that kind of
That's really
stuff.
awesome.
Yeah.
That's quite commendable. It's we always need more people like that, and I love that
Mhm.
we're getting to a point in time in our society where mental health is not so looked down upon like it used to be, and
Yeah.
it's getting more acceptable that people can go to therapy and get help, and that people are getting less and less afraid of asking for help and understanding that depression and all these other mental health diseases are actual diseases. So I have to give it up for you for that's really good that there's
Mhm.
people like you out there to keep adding on to that, because it's not getting any easier out there. I feel like I listen to a lot of podcasts, and one of the things I commonly hear is, I'm not saying everything's perfect in our society, but with the way we have come in our society, like things are way easier now compared, like, say 100, 200 years ago, right? And now it's to a point to where we're now at a point to where now we have time to actually focus on mental health issues, whereas like
Mhm.
200 years ago it was like, no, you had to basically survive out there. You didn't have time for stuff like that. It was go farming or go work at your job, and that's it.
Well, mental health back then was heavily stigmatized as
Oh
being
yeah.
something that was like wrong with you, and it was a choice. Oftentimes, when you look at like the two sort of divisions between mental health, you have pre-modernism and then modernism.
Yeah.
And kind of in that pre-modernism era, it was viewed as you being, you know,
Yeah, you'd
I'm not
get
really sure
sent
what
away
I'm.
somewhere.
Yeah, well, a lot of times, like, and unfortunately, still sometimes today, we see references to it being sort of like it's like a demon possessing you, or
Yeah.
like, if you were more like, faith and strong in your faith, like a lot of like we still have that thing where it's either like you are defective or it is like an aspect that is wrong with you in terms of like your religious
Yeah.
beliefs, or that you're morally wrong and that's why you're this way, or you're choosing to feel this way. And I still
Yeah.
see that sometimes today.
That's probably the most
um
frustrating part, is where people say you're
yes.
choosing to feel sad. It's like, no, not all the time.
Yeah, it's very hard. And I always like to explain it to people where like some people might be very apprehensive about mental health, psychology, psychiatry, social work, counseling, where they say like it's just like it's like feelings, it's very abstract. It's like not necessarily. Our brain is a is a physical part of our body, releasing chemicals that
Mm-hmm.
influence, the way we feel and the way we talk and the way we act. And, one thing happens here can change everything out here. And so we constantly see that. Um, with like chemical imbalances within the brain or like a traumatic brain injury. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, it affects the way we react and interact with the world around us. And so, when I try to explain it like that, if some people are like, it's just like abstract, it's thoughts and feelings, it's a social science, it's very much physical as it is, emotional, psychological, mental. They all interconnect. It's not just nature or nurture, it's both.
Yeah, no, and I 100% agree with that. And that sort of ties in with magic and
Yeah.
in the fact of, I mean, not just your articles, but have you ever read a lot of Will Jonathan from Channel Fireball's articles about, I think he calls them mental mana
No.
articles. So he's more of a sports psychologist where he talks with a lot of
Hmm.
athletes, talking about winning, losing, and the feelings that go along with that. And a lot of his articles, I
Yeah.
don't think he writes for Channel Fireball anymore, but he writes a lot about basically like how not to let magic burn you out or how to get over, when you're losing 50 times in a
Yeah.
row and stuff like that. And I love those kind of articles because, we all go through those feelings of, um, you lose at Magic or just any game, or you lose at something in life, and it's really, you gotta figure out, you get those feelings of self doubt where, oh, I'm a
Hmm.
terrible person, I suck at this, and all this stuff. It's no, it just happened. You lost because you lost, and something that
Yeah.
I learned in therapy, and you probably know about it, rational emotive behavior therapy.
Mhm.
That was something that I learned a lot of when I was in therapy a couple years ago, and I mean that's something that's helped me out, and that's I try to spread that out to other people. But one thing I do like about your articles, you
Hmm.
sort of I don't see anyone else really doing it besides Will. So I like that you're trying to put that in there that
Hmm.
that mental health is important for
Yeah.
the Magic community. We need more of that out there.
Yeah. For me, magic has become my like big form of self-care. It has also become a big stressor too, but it's a good stressor. So a lot of the articles I wrote, like the first article I wrote for Cabal therapy, was really important to me.
Hmm.
And I know it seems like a very precursor, sort of like introductory like column, but
Yeah.
that one meant the world to me, because it talked about making your LGSs a safe space. And safe spaces have kind of been sort of mocked on the internet, like it's like my safe space, like, like stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I find that that can be very negatively impactful. So for me, my LGS is a place that I can go to whenever, be welcomed there with open arms, see my friends. Like, I don't even have to text if they're there. I just know that at least one person I really like and know is going to be there. I can go there. I don't even have to play Magic. I can just sit down and talk and just relax and like be. And for me, that is fantastic. Sometimes I feel like I'm just so stressed or so bogged down or so anxious or nervous or even like frustrated or angry. I'm like, gosh, I need to like go someplace that I know like I
Hmm.
will feel better. And going there for me is that for me, it's fantastic. Um, but that might not be the case for everybody. Even at my LGS, we have some individuals who have said some very frustrating, not so
Oh,
kind things to me.
I know exactly what you're
Um,
talking about.
and that'll happen to anybody at any given time, regardless of your gender identity or your sexuality or your race. Sometimes you're just going to like get a comment for no particular reason. And for me, that's happened quite a few times. But that does not ruin the fact that it is a safe space for me because I know that I am welcome there and that the people who run the store care about my physical and emotional and mental well being. And that is something that every LGS should have.
Hmm.
Because, we have guidelines, sort of like how Wizards has like guidelines for how stores should
Yeah.
behave and act. There are some guidelines that I feel should either be integrated or should just kind of be like an unspoken guideline, and that was what that article was about. Was about, you know, being respectful of like language, interactions, going with a friend, you know, in case you're nervous of like large crowds. For instance, like when I went to the Open in Richmond, I went by I didn't go by myself, but like
Yeah.
I kind of like I went by myself. Like I drove up with some friends, um, and they kind of did their own thing and I did my own thing, but I just felt so overwhelmed. And you know, kind of like figuring out what to do when you're feeling overwhelmed in a situation where normally you'd be like so excited and having fun in a place that and playing something that makes you feel fantastic, but even, you know, those moments can seep in. So my articles were trying to kind of target like, yeah, this is something that makes you feel good, this is something that you do for self-care, but you know, it's not always going to feel great. Sometimes you're going to feel bad. Sometimes you're going to feel bad when you lose. Sometimes you're going to feel anxious at a crowded F&M, and you know you've never been to F&M anymore, and you want to grind like the best of them, but you're like, God, there's so many people. I just don't know what to do. I'm nervous. You know, stuff like that
Yeah.
was what I really wanted to talk about. Was like the everyday player and how not only could your LGS help you, but how you could help your LGS and help your fellow players in the community become more respectful, more sensitive, and caring towards one another in an aspect I feel is very stigmatized.
Yeah, and the thing that frustrates me, you bring up a good point, like with the whole safe space thing, how people mock it. The thing that gets me is, you know, people will talk about, you know, oh, you know, snowflakes and all this other crap. Is the bottom line it comes down to that, at least from my point of view, is just don't be respectful, like how you said it, like just be respectful toward each other. You know, you and I may not like each other, you and I may not agree on whatever viewpoints and all that stuff, but you know,
Yeah.
treat each other with respect. That's where it comes down to. And especially in the
Yeah.
LGS, it's I being in Florida, I have had my fair share of going to LGSs that are not the most savory. You know, I'm a white male, so, you know, I don't experience the, you know, sexual harassment or anything like that. But I definitely go around where I've gone to a bunch of LGSs where I feel uncomfortable, where, you know, you see people with certain playmats and you're like, okay, one, I don't give a crap if you have that playmat, but then you're also bringing that to a place where not only there are little kids around, but also, you know, where it can make other people feel uncomfortable too. And it's just like, really? Why? You know, play with that at home. You know, I don't give a crap what you do there. But, and, you know, I've had my fair share of, I mean, you know, so many people have complained about bathrooms at LGSs too. You know, that's always a big topic. Oh, God. Luckily, I have an LGS in my area now that's opened up where it is awesome. And even though I'm not really playing paper Magic too much, I am doing a lot more D&D. So I've been helping build my D&D community with it, and it's been awesome. But no, it's I feel I'm with you on that. We're just I really like the first article just talking about it, because, you know, talking about the LGS, because that's, to me, that's like the lifeblood of Magic right there.
Well, the LGS has been something that has continuously kept my my play like with Magic just a stable constant. I mean, my one of my first jobs was at an LGS. Then that place it didn't go too very well. But then I found a fantastic LGS in my college town, and I worked there for a little while. And then when I stopped working there, I continued to play there. And whenever I go back up to my college town, I go visit them.
That's awesome.
Because the LGS for me has gotten me so many of my friends. I mean, I I myself am a very silly person. When I'm relaxed, I'm very, you know, jokey. I'm very loud. I'm like weird,
Oh,
you
yeah.
know.
Oh, yeah.
But that's only when I'm like relaxed and like comfortable and like I'm with friends. Oftentimes when I don't know anybody, I'm very quiet and reserved, anxious, nervous, you know, insecure. Um, and Magic was able to help, you know, bridge that gap and, you know, say, you know, like, you know, these are your people. You know, I know it sounds like weird, but like it's like my tribe. Like
Well, yeah, yeah.
all of my really good friends from college, you know, save for um two of my roommates who I lived with for a long time, who aren't into Magic. All my friends from college were from my Magic club in college. And a lot of my friends right now are also from my LGS. Magic has given me an avenue to express myself socially in a comfortable way that was very difficult for me in the past, because I could be myself, because I could be that loud, weird person where I
Yeah.
could like walk and sit down and look at somebody, be like, what are you building? Or because, I would know exactly what they're talking about. Or like, hey, you want to do a pickup game of Commander? Like,
Yeah,
at an LGS,
exactly.
it
Yeah.
is okay to talk to strangers, which sounds a little weird, but it's okay to be like, hey, I like your playmat. Hey, I like your deck. That's a cool deck. What are you building? What formats do you play? And then just
And make a
cultivate.
friend, it's I some of my lifelong friends now is because I met them at LGSs, and
Yeah.
and that's the one thing that I love with games like Magic and D&D, where it brings people together where I probably would have never met my friends otherwise. And because we're from two different walks of life, if it wasn't for Magic, I would
Hmm.
have never met them. And and I'm sure the same for you too. you
Oh,
know
without a doubt.
it's and I don't know, it's I know with Arena coming out, especially for the past year, it's definitely
Hmm.
exploded Magic. And I do see, at least in my area, where Arena is starting to inject some more life into the paper game as well.
Hmm.
It's just, I always have that little fear in the back of my mind, like one day Wizards is just going to be like, nope, we're cutting production down on paper. Or just, I mean, I feel like they'll never do that,
Yeah,
but
I don't think they would.
there's always just my little fear, like some top executive in Hasbro is going to be like, yeah, we'll make way more money if we just cut out paper. 'Cause, I bet you there's already been talks of that too, where it's like, you motherfuckers.
I feel like if there was a move from strictly paper to strictly digital, there would not only be a lot of backlash, but I feel like that would bite Wizards in the back with the
Oh
whole
yeah.
like pay to play microtransaction thing. Like it's very it's hard to put my finger on it, but the paper play is
There,
something completely different.
yeah, there's nothing like it. Like you said, I know most of my play now is on Magic Arena, and I do
Hmm.
try to at least get with my friends at least once a month to do some EDH or maybe some
Yeah.
Cube or something like that.
Hmm.
But and there's no comparison. Even though I may have play EDH once a month in paper, to me that's way more fun than the 5,000 games of Magic Arena that I've played. You know,
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. Honestly, EDH is like again, it's like the bridge for me. It's what gets me with my friends. It's where I have fun. It's where I make my connections. It's where when I go to an LGS and they're like, Chase, do you want to play? And then I sit down and pull up my Locust God and they go, oh God, like it's like you don't get that. You don't get that online. Like there's
Oh
just
no.
like something about the social aspect of like ribbing on each other, joking on each other, politics, the actual
You
like
may get
bickering
that.
back and forth.
Yeah, you may get that a
Yeah.
little bit on Magic Online when you
Yeah.
play EDH there. Sometimes, depending, because I've played on Magic Online, and you have a really good group that you just randomly pair up with on Magic Online with EDH, but it's
Yeah.
very, very few and far between. It's most of the
Yeah.
time you'll get someone playing the degenerate deck, and you know someone just being a complete asshole, and
Mhm.
you normally don't get very many good people on Magic Online for the most part.
Yeah, I haven't done Magic Online yet. That's something I was actually thinking of investing in so that I could stream some of Magic Online too, so I could get that sort of commander aspect in there that I love on a stream because standard isn't really my thing. But
Yeah.
for me, I have to find a deck that I enjoy playing in order to play standard. I don't care if it's a winning deck. I want to have fun playing it.
Yeah.
And I found that for myself on Arena right now. But I've talked to a couple of friends. I'm like, you know what? Like $10 really isn't that
Well, I
bad. I'll
thought I
just like
thought they
check your
got rid of
die.
the $10 fee.
I just checked about 2 days ago,
Oh,
and it
maybe they
still
did.
said $10.
Oh,
Unless it was like in like the recent 2 days, it said
oh,
$10. But maybe that's not the case anymore. I'm not really sure. But from what I saw on online, it said $10.
yeah. It's if they got rid of that fee, I mean, that'd be awesome because that fee's dumb. Because I mean, you
Yeah,
still have to pay for the cards anyways. But building an EDH deck, I do mainly budget EDH decks on Magic Online, where I try not
yeah,
to spend more than $5 on a deck, and it's I've built so many more commanders on Magic Online compared to what I would have in paper. Even though it's not the best mana base,
yeah.
or I don't have all the good, mana crypt and all that other crap on there, but you know, it
Hmm.
it does all right. I
Yeah,
can win games sometimes.
yeah.
Speaking of commander, who's your favorite commander of all time?
Out of the ones I've built, Locust God.
Locust God.
He is my longest. Yeah.
That is a fun one. I did build him for a little bit. Then I sort of
Mhm.
changed it when Niv Mizzet Perun came out. I had to change it to
Yeah,
him, and I've fallen in love with that deck. Basically, that whole deck revolves around me drawing cards, and that's it.
yeah.
I don't do anything else.
Yeah, that's my Locust God deck. It's my longest surviving deck. I get bored of decks very easily. I build them, I play them, I love them, I hate them, I rip them apart and begin anew. And the Locust
Yeah.
God has survived about 2 years. He's
What?
survived a long time.
Well, he's only been. Has he only been out for 2 years, or
I
is it
want to.
3
I'm really
years?
guesstimating. I hope I Amonkhet. I
I feel like it
honestly
just came out.
Amonkhet did not just come out
It
because I was
feels
still
like it
in
did.
undergrad when Amonkhet was out.
Okay,
I
well,
want to say Amonkhet came out in my junior year, so that would be 2017,
yeah, that feels
maybe.
like just yesterday.
Yeah,
um,
yeah, it's my longest surviving baby.
have you ever tried playing with Crewfix?
I have not,
Are you
not with
familiar? Are you
Crewfix.
familiar with Crewfix?
Yeah, I run Crewfix in, or at least I did. I'm trying to remember where I ran him. He was in one of my decks, and then I ripped it apart. I don't remember which deck that I
Oh
had him
no.
in, but I had him in a deck. Um, and I didn't really love it. I did not fall in love with Crewfix as a commander.
He
Um,
he's
for me to,
What I was gonna say,
Mhm.
he's definitely my favorite, but I play him because
Yeah,
my favorite archetype is control, so I definitely play it more as rampy control type commanders.
yeah,
So it's I love it.
yeah.
So you
For
got
me to,
well, no, what were you gonna say?
I'm gonna keep interrupting you. I'm gonna keep
No,
interrupting you.
it's fine. It's fine.
Uh, for me to build a commander, I need to fall in love with it at first sight.
Yeah.
It's very weird for
No,
me.
I know what you mean.
Draw build a commander.
Even though I have I'll have to look. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Even though I have 7 commander decks, I used to have a lot
Hmm.
more. I almost had 20 at one point, and then just like you, I got sick and pretty much tired of them all, and just took them all apart, and then rebuilt the 7 that I have now. I'm very picky on what kind of commander I want to build. I can't just find anything and be like, oh, I can build a commander deck out of it, because it's to the
Yep.
point now where, and maybe you feel the same way, where you see a commander, you see like, okay, it could be fun, but it feels so one dimensional, right?
Yes, I need a deck to challenge me.
Yeah.
For me to think to play it, or for there to be specific strategies. So I used to have about 7 commander decks at any given time, like 67 at one point.
Hmm.
Now I have 3 functional, and 2 currently in the works. They're almost done. I've had every commander you can think of under the sun. I had Atraxa, Elish Norn. I had Azuri. I had Animar. I had
Animar. Ugh.
the Snake Lord, whose name I can't it's the Arachi, but he was it was a weird
Oh,
Civic Snake Lord.
yeah, I can't
Him.
remember. I know who you're talking about though.
Yeah, it's been a while. I had Nor and the Wary, and that was a mono red chaos deck.
Oh, that can be a fun deck.
I had Maronar. I had I oh god, I've had so many decks. But now I currently have 3 functional. Well, maybe 4 functional. My brain's a little weird with my decks. I have Atla Palani Nest Tender, which is Naya. I
Okay.
have Locust God, which is Izzet. I have Tuvasa the Sunlit, which is Bant. I have 4. And Morphon, which is 5 color. And those are my current functioning decks I have at the moment.
Nice. It's I just recently built who did I just recently build? Oh my god, I'm drawing a blank now. I just recently I can't remember. I'd have to go look. I recently rebuilt Rise the Redeem, or Risk the Redeem, or however you say it.
Yeah.
The Selesnya one. And he's just more of my token go wide deck. He's my only deck that doesn't have blue in it. Actually, wait, no, I lie. I also have Omnath, Locus of Rage.
Yeah.
But then I do want to build the new Teamer Omnath and just make it more of a control-y elemental deck.
You're reminding me, I've also had Edgar. I've also had Azusa. I have had...
Edgar can be fun, but...
Edgar.
He's just, at least the way I built him, he was very aggro-y. What?
Yes. I've had a Sliver deck. I had Sliver Hive Lord. I've had a lot of decks. Like, all of them are coming back to me all of a sudden. But I agree with you on Edgar, because when I had Edgar, I built him. I played him. He won. And that's it.
Yeah, it just felt like you just go wide, swing in. Oh, they wipe your board? Okay, I'm just going to play more vampires. Cool.
Yeah, we're fine.
And it felt kind of plain.
Yeah.
But no, I like that you built Slivers, because I didn't have Sliver Legion, even though he was in my deck. I played Sliver Overlord, where you just tutor through every single sliver, and that would be the only Magic deck my wife would play, because she knows how to play, but she's not a big fan of Magic, but she would only ever play slivers, and I hated playing against her, because she just knew all the good slivers and be like, nope, all my slivers are unblockable, they have Shroud and Shadow and Fear, and I'm like, and I'm just like, screw you.
Yeah, slivers get pretty gross.
Yeah, it gets disgusting.
I've had Hepatra. I keep remembering them. They're all coming back to me now.
That's the Golgari one, right? With the poison counters or something? Or?
Yeah, I foiled that out too.
Oh, damn.
And then I took it apart because my playgroup hated me. And it got less fun to play it.
I remember another deck that I just recently built, Grand Arbiter. And that is probably my most degenerate deck, and I only play it because my friend has a ridiculous Nekasar deck, and then my other friend has a ridiculous Animar deck that...
I hate everything you're just saying. That's like so gross.
And
Nekasar, I hate.
Yeah, I hate Nekasar and I hate Animar, and they both have infinite combos in them. So I'm like, okay, well, I'm gonna play Grand Arbiter and just not allow you to do anything. And my only win con in the deck is Approach of the Second Sun. That's it. Everything else is I'm just going to stop you from doing everything.
Yeah. I like kind of having like the combos like that. Like in my Atla deck, I have the Polyraptor deal damage sort of combo where I just get infinite Polyraptors. In my Locust God deck, I have 2 win cons to mill myself to death and win that way.
Is one of them was it Arcane Adaptation?
So one of the ways that I like to do, and both of them involve the same card.
Okay.
So you need to have Locust God out in the field already for this to work. Mm-hmm. And at least, like a card in your hand to draw. So you're going to want to play the card called Kindred Discovery, which I believe is 3 and 2 blue or 2 and 2 blue. I'm pretty sure it's 3 and 2 blue. And you name a creature type. And whenever
that's
a creature
the one I was thinking of, not Arcane Adaptation.
Yeah. So whenever creature type ETBs or attacks, you draw a card.
Yeah, it's as it enters the battlefield, choose a creature type. Whenever a creature you control the chosen type enters the battlefield or attacks, draw a card.
Yeah, exactly.
I remember this.
So with Locust God, that is lethal for yourself unless you have one of 2 cards out on the battlefield. And I usually go with my Lab Maniac. He's my tried and true. Mm-hmm. Love you, baby. But recently the new Jace is another way to do that.
That's
because I played I played a Commander game. Actually, you can look on Twitter. It was I played Thursday, and there's a little 4-tweet thread.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
Yeah,
I saw that.
I played 4 games. I won every single one of the games I played, and I won with Jace because he seems pretty innocuous when you put him out. He's not like one that you look at and you go, oh my god, like the Mind Sculptor. You're not wowed by him. So I played him, and my opponents just were like, cool, okay, and then I was like, cool.
Him.
Yeah, I ignored him, and so what happened was I played I played Kindred Discovery, and then I wheeled myself, and I was like, I win, because I had Jace out, and they're like, what? Like, yeah, I mill myself to death, and Jace says I win, so I win. They like looked at their hands. They were all. I like waited till they were all tapped out to do it too, because I was like, this has never happened before. Like usually when they see Lab Maniac, they're like, oh crap, it's Lab Maniac. They don't. They just. I've never been able to pull it off the Jace way. So when I did that, I felt like pretty good about that. I like
awesome.
ridiculous ways to win. Like my favorite way to win, and I have won this way before, is in my Morphon deck, which is a Changeling and Lord Tribal.
Mm-hmm.
So it runs cards like Arcane Adaptation. Every creature that is not a Lord in that deck is a Changeling. Specifically, it cannot be just a Shapeshifter. It has to be a Changeling. And I'll play a card. This is the only win con in that deck that's like, if I do this, I win. Liliana's Contract. Because ADTB,
that's the 4 different
I draw
demons?
a certain amount of cards. Yeah, if you control 4 or more demons with different names, you win the game. And I do every time.
Oh my god, that's
yeah. It's
you get it every
degenerate.
single time, or
yeah.
That's awesome.
I don't even run any regular demons in that deck. I just have that in there because I'm like, you know what? It gets me card draw. I do lose some life, but there is the option of me winning. And I played it one time, and I passed the turn, and they looked at me, and I was like, by the way, I'm just gonna let you know I'm gonna win next turn when it rolls back down to me because it was a 3-pod.
Yeah, you got to tell them you got to kill me now or I win.
Yeah, and my opponent looked at me and he goes, how? And I'm like, Liliana's Contract. I have 4 changelings out. And he looked at his hand, and he looked at me, and he was like, he looked at his opponent, he's like, I don't think I have anything to take care of that. And he was like, do you have anything to take care of that? And he's like, I don't know if I have anything to take care of that. And I was like, cool, okay, let's one more round. And then they one more round, and I was like, cool, I win. Like doing it that way is like really, I like the really weird ways to win, like the way that like kills yourself and you win, or the way that's like, okay, I'm just gonna remain passive here and win. Stuff like that is like super fun for me.
Yeah, no, I love that. And see, that's what attracts me to certain commanders, is weird ways like that too. And like a new commander that I built, I think this year or last year, was the new Nicobolus the Ravager from M19.
Yes.
I mean, I know I could have used OG Nicobolus, but I decided to use the Ravager because I basically built that deck as a thief deck where I'm just going to steal everything that you have. So I make sure, like, okay, you're playing all this cool stuff. Now, this is all my cool stuff. So I basically just try to play their deck. I love that way. As you can probably tell, Control is definitely my favorite archetype here. It's blue is my favorite color in Magic. I know I'm evil.
Mine too.
If you know Pixie Kitten?
Yes.
Pixie Kitten plays. She hates blue. So Pixie, if you're listening, blue is the best color. And
I do love blue.
And see, 2 people can't be wrong here. It's an amazing color. Like you play Locust God, it has blue in it. Is actually my favorite guild. Is it and Dimir are my 2 favorite guilds with Ravnica, and then you combine them, get Grixis, and it's like 3 best colors, along with Bant and what's the other one?
Temur, Jeskai,
Temur,
Esper.
yeah, Jeskai, Esper, yeah, all of them that have blue.
Yeah,
all that have blue.
Well, Mardu doesn't have blue.
No.
I really do like Bant. I don't know why, because I don't like white, but when you put white with the Simic, I'm like, yeah.
Oh, I cannot wait for the Brawl decks to come out, the Chulane one. I need to get it so bad.
I asked my LGS, I actually texted one of my friends, and he works there, and I was like, listen, are they in yet? Can you like set one aside?
I thought they came out yesterday, but no.
No, he was like, I don't think, he's like, we don't have them. I think we're getting them like when it actually like full releases. And I was like, because like usually you can buy like the Planeswalker decks during pre-release, and then they won't sell them until regular release.
Yeah.
But he was like, yeah, I don't think we're selling them right now. And I'm like, because I really want the Alela deck, because I already have that deck completely built.
Oh,
I just need
that's the fairy one, right?
Yeah, without a doubt. It's very on brand for me. Also, it's just so good.
That's true.
It's so good.
So what is your favorite fairy card? Because Thorn of Eldraine came out with a lot of good ones, actually.
Yes, they did. So I'm going to give like, okay, so I have a lot of answers. So my favorite card ever that's a fairy is Bitter Blossom. That is my favorite card.
One. Yeah.
It is, I just like, I love everything about it. I love, because for me, when I first started playing, black was like the first color I played, and so I really learned the whole, your life as a resource thing
Yeah,
with that card, because you literally you ping, but you get a payoff of that, and you get creatures, and I loved that. And I remember when I was playing EDH back when I was a baby, I did the whole like Una's Blackguard thing with it with Bitter Blossom, because I was able
yeah.
to do it where I played an Una's Blackguard, drew into Bitter Blossom, played the Bitter Blossom, and then instead of getting a 1/1 fairy for 1 life, I would get a 1/1. I would get a 2/2 fairy for 1 life, because Una's Blackguard, the Bitter Blossom makes fairy rogues, and Una's Blackguard has a rogues coming with an extra counter on it. So that was like, yeah. So for me, like, that was really cool. This time around, there's a lot of really fantastic fairies out. Alela, I like her a lot because she's not only just like a fairy token generator, but she's a practical one that involves enchantments, which I really love, and artifacts. So it's not just straight out fairy tribal. It's, that complex thing that you have to do that gets me interested in a commander. There has to be more than just, you play a fairy, you get a fairy. It has that extra oomph that draws me to a card.
I definitely enjoyed when Arena had the Brawl event. That one and Chulane were my two favorite to play. And it was just... The fairy one, I feel like if you had a really good commanding lead, it's like there was no way to stop you at that point.
Without a doubt.
Yeah, it was insane. I really enjoyed that one.
I did too. Other cards that I like from this set, art-wise, the collector's pack of Fae of Wishes, stunning.
Let me look that, because I can't remember.
Stunning.
Because I know I've seen the regular art. I just don't remember the...
It's beautiful.
Fae of Wishes.
Absolutely gorgeous.
Was it they consider it the showcase? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
I like that.
Beautiful. Stunning. I love it.
That does look nice.
In terms of ability, besides Alela, Hushbringer is disgusking.
Yeah, and the art of that is ridiculous.
It's beautiful.
Looking too.
Well, she's a redhead fairy too, which for me was like, like it was like two different things that mean a lot to me, and it's like boom boom, already in love. But the fact that it has a good ability too is awesome, because I kind of look at everything from an EDH lens. And so when I look at EDH, you only have one copy of each card. However, EDH has a lot of cards that specifically function off of ETB or dying triggers, and so looking at that card just kind of shuts that down. So like you have like stuff like Panharmonicon shut down. You have stuff like Yarok shut down. You have your token doublers shut down. Stuff like that. Like that shuts down a lot of token decks. That shuts down a lot of like those, like, you get the extra triggers, here's a trigger. It's just like it shuts it down. And for me, that's really cool. I also really like it because it kind of takes fairies out of the kind of standard colors that you expect fairies to be. When Eldraine was first announced and it was believed to be a fairy like exclusive set, I got like a million tags on Twitter. Like a ton of people were like, I think I woke up to like over 90 tweets in my mentions that morning, because I remember being like absolutely, like it was just constantly like at and so I made predictions, and so I predicted that we were going to get like Una as a planeswalker. I mean, I was kind of close. We got a fairy planeswalker, so I'll take it.
We got Oko.
Yeah. And then another thing I predicted was that we would see the return of green fairies as well as fairies outside of the Dimir colors, and we got that. Not necessarily, we didn't really get any red. We got no red, and that's fine.
Yeah, that's true.
But we do have some green fairies. We do have some white fairies, which I'm very happy about, because that kind of takes fairies out of the color archetype, I guess. That was just kind of
blue
narrowed them in. Yeah. So usually when you see fairies in Magic, and you can look at them in any card before Eldraine. I just want to focus solely before on Eldraine, because this was, I've talked about this a lot. A lot of fairies are seen as sort of like spies, thieves, surveil. Like, I mean, like you just like look in
and all that, and
So you have a bunch of cards like that. We Dragonauts, fairies that are through the Edh working as a spies. Then you have surveilling sprite. Another one, you have Metropolis sprite. You have a fairy miscreant. Each of these individuals are stealing something or working.
Vendilion Click is
as covert.
Ones.
Yeah. So you have like these fairies in a covert sort of like, I am stealing something, or I am, spying. I mean, even like the regular fairies of Lorwyn are, dream thieves. They steal dreams. And we even have an example of a fairy in Dominaria in a card. It's a spell, not a creature, but fairies stealing baby teeth and like dreams and little small things and teeth like that, like very weird things. So you see a lot of depictions of fairies as being sort of these like, very standard blue back, thieving, surveilling, stuff like that. And so when we see what we have right now in Eldraine, we see that the inclusions are of, the other fairies that we have are, we have black, we have blue. We also have green and white. And the combination of like white and blue and so on and so forth. And I think that's very interesting to see because it shows that they're sort of positively aligned. For instance, you have Fairy Guide Mother, a sort of positive guiding fairy. Even the flavor text, it was like, I think off the top of my head is no one is so lost that a fairy can't find them. Like very positive, like
I like that.
Like beautiful. And I really like to see that because fairies, were so like darkly negatively aligned in terms of I'm going to steal, I'm going to be covert, I'm working, like double agent, like with Vendilion Click and stuff like that. And we're kind of seeing a step away from that. I know that there's another white fairy that gets me confused with Fairy Guide Mother. Like it's like the art looks very similar, but for the life of me, I can't remember. I mean, we even have, I believe it's a Manadork fairy too. That's Simic.
Is it Simic? Yeah.
Yeah, it's a Simic fairy. That's a Manadork, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah,
but
Marleaf Pixie?
Marleaf Pixie, yeah. So we see some very interesting changes in terms of like the color alignments with fairy, return of fairies in different colors, which for me is very exciting because in the beginning of Magic, you would see fairies be either blue or green. And the original green fairies were horrible. They were so bad.
A lot of creatures back then were terrible.
Yeah. Scrib Ranger Fire Sprites, Aisling Leprechaun, Rubinia Pixie Queen, which I maintain is one of the worst fairy cards I've ever laid my eyes on. But yeah, cards like that where you see them and they're green and they're kind of bad, and now they're in green again, and it's pretty good. They're in white, and we've only had, as far as I know, there's only one other white fairy in my mind, which is Glamour Spinners from Shadowmoor. Off the top of my head, it's Shadowmoor.
You may know better than I do. I don't follow. I don't follow the fairies that well.
The art is absolutely beautiful, phenomenal. The art is a depiction of two fairies. It's very heavy in pink, which you don't see on Magic cards. So for me, that's one of my favorite foils because it's a pink artwork. I mean, it's not even just like subtle hazy like this. It's like fuchsia. Like it's beautiful.
Speaking of pink, the other fairy you're talking about in white is the Mysterious Pathlighter, and it is. There's definitely a lot of pink in that card as well too.
And so like for me, it's kind of seeing like those difference because Glamour Spinners wasn't a Azorius card, but it's one of those cards that you could either pay blue or white. So kind of seeing like the addition now of, like blue and white is kind of interesting. I really recommend looking up the art for Glamour Spinners just because when I say it's like stunning, I honestly like it's probably my favorite foil of a fairy I own because of how in your face the color is on that card. That's without a doubt.
Glamour Spinners?
Yes, Glamour Spinners.
If I knew how to spell it, that helps me. Okay, yeah, I like that. I really like the combination of the pink and the blue.
Yes.
Like that. That looks really cool.
In a foil that is just gorgeous.
When this comes into play, attach all auras enchanting target permanent to another permanent with the same controller. That sounds disgusting.
Yeah, it can be. It can be.
Oh my gosh. Imagine if you're playing like Voltron and EDH and they kill your one guy with like 500 auras attached to it, and you flash this in, like, nope, now all those auras are somewhere else now. That's disgusting.
Yes, it can be. Like, Glamour Spinners is a card I have never seen played, and it's something I've wanted to integrate into one of my decks. And I really honestly think that it's something that is slept on as a card. Yes, the CMC is high, but in a format like EDH, where you have multiple turns, you got a lot of mana going.
And plenty of mana rocks out there.
Without a doubt. Yeah. And even, like, mana doublers, like Mirari's Wake.
Yeah,
you got the ability to do that if you're playing multiple colors.
I agree. This is almost like a sleeper card where this card alone almost makes me want to build Voltron just because of this. Where
it's a sneaky, gross card. Again, even
Yeah,
though it's
it
Azorius,
is.
you have that sort of like, cool, already you lost all yourself. It's mine now. It's like
Yeah,
stuff like
exactly.
that is very characteristic of fairies that we are seeing a change towards. And I like what we're seeing in Eldraine because Eldraine is kind of highlighting the original concept of Fae in sort
Hmm.
of like this Arturian lore, this Celtic lore, where Fae are these otherworldly, ethereal, beautiful beings that are either super strong and powerful and just awe-inspiring, or are tricksters. Because there's very many different types of Fae in Celtic lore. They're not just little pixies with wings. They're
Yeah.
full-sized people, ethereal, like godlike looking creatures. And so we see that in this with Oko. He's one of those, you know. So there's like an integration of Fae lore that is not just, you know, like what you would assume fairies to be, like Disney fairies or,
Yeah.
you know, like Peter Pan fairies. You know, you see like the Fae, like
See,
kind of
yeah,
expressed in different aspects.
yeah. You see, they've definitely brought it more to the forefront and more fantasy, like not just the typical, like you're saying, not the typical what we've seen in the past,
Yeah.
mischievous and stealing stuff. It's no, I
Yeah.
like it. I'm pretty much in love with this set now. This set now. I mean, standard is still pretty new here. There are a lot of cool standard cards here, but just the flavor of this set is
Hmm.
just ridiculous.
With that, yeah.
I think this has been one of my favorite sets, just flavor and lore wise, in a long time. Um, yeah, because I think flavor, because I do say the last set that I really, really, really enjoyed altogether was Dominarian. That to me, because I've been playing Magic for so long,
Yeah.
um, I mean, I'm one of those to where I would not mind if Magic went back to Dominaria and just stayed there for the rest of its existence, because I
Yeah.
love that world so much.
Uh-huh.
But it's no, it I almost kind of wish we were staying longer in Eldraine and not just this
Yeah.
one set. I
I do
mean,
too.
I want to go back to Theros because I love the Greek mythology and all that, but
Hmm.
I wish we had one more set of this.
Yeah, I would like to see something with Lorwyn too. Even though I know that
Yeah,
we're kind of already in the realm within Lorwyn, a
yeah.
Lorwyn-esque plane. Eldraine
We
is
do
something
need to
that I
go
really
back
wish
there.
we do.
And
With that,
we
100% that we do.
Yeah, because what
Um,
Lorwyn came out in what 2008, 2007, 2008, something like that.
It, for me, is the set that hooked me into Magic. You know, when I was first building, I would go to my LGS, pick up long boxes, and go through singles instead of buying cards straight up.
Hmm.
And I would just find the cards that I thought were really interesting with their art and their creature types. And Lorwyn was without a doubt the consistent, you know, set that like pulled me in. I mean, to this day, it's my favorite plane.
What is your first Magic set that you started playing?
Okay, so when I first started playing Magic, I went to my LGS
Hmm.
and pre-release for what was it? I want to say it was Battle for Zendikar. It
Okay.
was where I have a really bad memory of it because I didn't play in it. I just went to my LGS to buy singles. It was the Tower, you know, pre-release box that had orange and green on it. Do you know what I'm talking about?
The tower with orange and green
Yeah, it
on
was
it.
it was like it wasn't like the square box that we have now. It was like a
Yeah.
thin tower with like orange and green on
That
it.
might have been Battle for Zendikar.
I want to say it is Battle for Zendikar.
Yeah,
That's around the
I'm
time I
looking to
started
see if I
playing.
still have my. I may have gotten rid of it. No, I don't think I have it.
Yeah. So that was my first, like that is the exact time, was like the day I went to my LGS, that pre-release was happening. As for my first pre-release event was I want to say it was Shadows over Innistrad.
So what was your When did you get into Magic? Like, what set was out at the time, or do you remember
Uh
that?
All I can say is that I know, like, literally when I started playing was when Battle for Zendikar
Okay,
pre-release
okay,
happened. So I want to say Battle for Zendikar
okay.
because I had maybe been playing for a week at that time, maybe even less. And then I just like went to the LGS with my ex, and we were like, "Cool, let's like buy some cards, like for a date."
Yeah.
And then it was like I was like, "What the hell is all these people doing here?" And they're like, "Oh, it's pre-release." And I went, "What is that?" And ever since Shadows over Innistrad, in my time of playing, which is 4 years in December.
It's really been
Um,
4 years since that came out. Shadows
I
over
want to
Innistrad.
say I remember that I started playing. around like the winter months. I'm so bad with this time, and you're probably hating me right now.
No,
Like,
no, no, it's fine.
I
It's
just know
fine.
that for a hundred
Holy
percent
shit.
that was it in December?
Well, no, no, no. It came out April 2016, but I guess the older I get, the more it feels like it just came out yesterday to me.
I just remember that the first time, like the first pre-release I saw, and I didn't even play it, was that I started playing. I want to say in
Because Battle
when
for
I first started
Zendikar came
dating,
out
like
in 2014, I want to say.
2014.
Am I, or was it 2015? Oh,
I'm
it was
honestly getting
2015. It was
okay.
2015.
There we go. Because I was like, that was my freshman year, and I didn't start dating my ex until like sophomore, which was 2015. That's how I have my timeline with this, which is very like broken.
Yeah.
um, but the first pre-release I ever played was Shadows. Um,
I like
and
that set. That was a good set. It was fun.
that was a good set. I absolutely tanked it pre-release.
Yeah, I think
Um,
I went to pre-release because I did a midnight one. My last midnight pre-release that I ever did. I did the first round. I had a really awesome deck. It was really, really good. Opened up a bunch of bombs, won my first match, and then I gave the win to my opponent because I'm literally falling asleep in my chair
yeah,
right now, and I'm like,
I don't do midnight for a reason.
yeah, I can't do it anymore. I
Yeah,
refuse to do midnight anymore, and
yeah.
yeah, that was my last one.
Yeah, I really wish I had a better timeline. All I know is that I started dating like my ex officially in like November, and I remember when he and I were like going out. We went to the Battle for Zendikar like pre-release day because I remember I saw all the boxes and I was like, "What the hell is this?" So it's like somewhere in that time frame. I like to say that my like start to Magic was in like November to December area,
Okay.
um, because I really feel so bad for not remembering. I know I have a Facebook post of me with my ex teaching me on Facebook somewhere in my memories. And I
Yeah, I
know that
thought
for
you
a
put it
fact.
on Twitter or something too.
Give me like maybe let me see if I can like pull it up then the on my Facebook because I'd actually like to know specifically like the time. So let's see on this day, which goes to memories. Can you like search through memories or I
I
don't know if
don't know.
yeah. Let's see, maybe we'll type in like memories teach magic. That's not how you spell teach.
I'm trying to go
Uh,
through your Twitter timeline here to see if it.
I don't think it's gonna be on there.
Oh, I thought I remember you posting, or maybe that was someone else. I don't
I
remember
don't
who.
particularly remember. I am a little bit mad at myself. I'm gonna find it because I actually want to know the exact time. Because I have a picture of him sitting on the floor, teaching me how to play with a kitchen table deck that had Zathras Necromancer, Death Cultist, Child of Night. Like I remember, like my first ever deck I built was a kitchen table mono black life gain
Nice,
deck, which
nice.
was so much fun. Oh my god. It was an absolute like charm of a deck to play. Um I'm like literally going back in time right now on my phone. Like I'm going through like my mobile uploads on like Facebook. I'm like, I know I have this up here somewhere.
I know you're
Because
good.
I want to know the answer.
Yeah, because that reminds me of. I always love telling this story because I've been playing. Like I feel old, even though I'm not that
Hmm.
old. Um, so I started playing Magic back when Urza Saga was out back in 1996,
Hmm.
and we we didn't have LGSs here for like ever, not until like 2005 2006. So
Yeah.
I didn't even know Friday Night Magic even existed. We had a sports card shop that had a little collection of Urza Saga box where you just buy booster packs and that was it. And
Yeah.
I remember, begging my mom to buy me some, and she bought me a bunch. And the thing that we would trade for the most, besides just individual cards, would be basic lands. Because none of my friends and I had basic lands at all. There was nothing in the area that sold intro decks or anything like that, or even
Hmm.
even land stations. So I always remember like my first deck was a mono green stompy deck, but I had islands in the deck too because I'm like, oh, guys, just pretend these are forests, all right? I'll never forget that. And now it's like I can't. I have too many basic lands now that I need to
Yeah.
just get rid of.
I have boxes upon boxes of basics just like everywhere.
God, it's a lot. Now I'm slowly working on reducing my Magic collection. I'm trying to get it to a point to where I
Haha, I found it.
Oh, you did? But what date? What
Yes.
date was it?
December 5th.
December 5th, 2015.
Yes. December 5th, 2015 is me taking a picture of my ex as we're playing kitchen table on the ground. I have a Zathrid necromancer and a what's that card? It's skull cultist. Oh, I see the art. It's like a guy, and he's like going like, haha,
Now
come
you're
at
asking the
me.
wrong person
I'm
here.
so bad at this.
I'm
And
so
he has like a
bad at
ninja.
I'm so bad at remembering card names and all that stuff. I'm lucky I even know how to play Magic sometimes. I'm so bad at remembering.
Found it. I'm really happy. So now I have the exact date. December 5th is my magic
Well, see,
anniversary.
there you go. There you go. And
Yeah.
you're coming up on what,
My 4
4 years.
years. I know. That's so
Oh man,
great. That's exciting. Who knew I'd be here?
I know, right?
Doing what I'm doing. I certainly
Like,
don't.
did you ever see yourself like even playing Magic this long here, or even doing content creation for it, or
No. I did
no?
not.
So,
When I was
what got you
like
started in it then?
my ex-boyfriend actually, which is
Oh,
like, the answer that I feel like would be like, "Oh, you're playing for your boyfriend?" Here's the deal. It's an embarrassing story, but I'm going to tell it anyway. We were playing a game of like kitchen table downstairs in the common room because he lived in kind of an apartment style area where there was
yeah,
like a big common room from everyone in the building and then common rooms in each room.
yeah,
And we were in the big common room from everywhere. And he like was playing against a friend of ours. And he like did like this big like combo thing that had like 8 different things going on. And I was like, that's kind of attractive. And I like looked at him and I was like, yeah, like that's literally, it's embarrassing for me. But I looked at him afterwards. I was like, hey, can we go to Walmart and buy some packs? And he goes, you really want to buy some packs? I'm like, I really want to buy some packs. So I bought some packs. And then we went to Olive Garden, and he was like, all right, hun, leave the packs inside in the car. And I was like, I want to open them at the table. So we went to Olive Garden. We sat down, and I opened booster packs, and I got a Felidar Sovereign and Felidar Sovereign. That's the one that gives you however many life you win the game.
yeah.
And then I pulled the Flip Nissa.
Oh, okay, okay. Yeah, I love that Nissa.
Mm-hmm. And those were like the 2 cards I remember like 100%. There was a third pack. I don't remember what I got, but I was like, I got it. And he freaked out. I was like, why are you freaking out? And he goes, that's such a good card. So that was like my introduction to Magic, was him. And when he and I dated for about like 3 years, about 3 years, 3.5 years.
Hmm.
And then we split, and I didn't think I could do Magic anymore because playing it, was like what we did, and
Yeah,
it felt very painful for me. But I kept up with it. I found an LGS in my area, and it recultivated my love for the game and gave me such a strong sense of community there, which eventually led to me trying to create and help cultivate a stronger community
no,
online.
that's good. That's
Yeah.
good. No, that's awesome. No, because I can remember, you bussing onto the Twitter scene, and now, and that's what I really like, especially with your article that you wrote,
Mhm.
the 4th one about women in magic, or
Yeah.
talking about supporting other women, and I have 2 daughters, and to me, I've tried to get them into magic. They know how to play. I think they try to appease me sometimes with wanting to play, but I can tell they don't really have a lot of fun. And but I'm not gonna like force them into it. I never force them into anything that they
Yeah.
don't want to do. But I like when I see like what you write, where
Mhm.
women supporting women, and then also trying to showcase more women in the community like
Yeah.
that. Because to me it's important, because I think of my daughters, and I want to make sure that they have good role models and all that good stuff. And that
Yeah.
I think that's probably been my favorite article you wrote for the Cabal Therapy one.
Yeah, I'm glad. I do have to say that when I was thinking about these articles, I my original concept for that article was to just do, women in magic, the issues we face.
Hmm.
And then I was talking to Kaya underscore Vess, the girl with the lotus tattoo,
Hmm.
and she was like, you know what? I see so much of that. You should talk about women supporting women. And that kind of hit me because I didn't really see a lot of the articles out there. There's certainly plenty of women supporting women in Magic, and I find that to be fantastic. But she was right. A lot of the articles I saw were about, these are the things that happen to us, and they suck, but we're strong. And those articles are fantastic and they're true. But, I really liked her take on it, which was, what can we do to make each other stronger and each other feel better and each other feel welcomed in the community, rather than, like the things that happen to us and what we can do after. It's what we can do now with each other currently. And I took that idea and ran with it. And I shouted her out. It was an absolutely fantastic idea. And I wouldn't have been able to get to it without her. Because, she was right. Like, I was immediately drawn to the negative. Mm-hmm. And what we should be talking about is not the negative, but the positive. And for some reason, that just didn't occur to me.
No, and I like that and commend you for it, because you're right, because every article I can think of that I've seen that talks about women in Magic is how it's always been negative, like what the experiences they've gone through and what people can and should do better. But then you never, I don't, at least unless I'm wrong, I cannot recall an article similar to yours where it talks about supporting each other and trying to build a better community, because that basically needs to happen. And it's hard, because I know I've gone through this in content creation where it's really easy to see everything as being competitive. Yeah. And because it's, I come from a competitive background, not just with Magic, but I've done martial arts for a long time in my life. So, and basically when you're fighting, that you're being competitive, right? You want to win. Yeah. And so content creation for a long time, I thought of that as I just need to win content creation, right? And, it's hard. It's hard to not see it as a competition. And, no, go on.
It's hard. I mean, I struggle with that too. I find myself, like I said earlier in the beginning, I'm a person who's very self-critical with everything I do. I'm a perfectionist by nature, despite the fact that I'm very lazy. So that constantly
I think I kind of know what you mean.
fights each other. But for me, there are moments where I feel like a fraud in the community, Oh, like I someone who does not it's like someone it's like I don't belong because I'm the biggest competitive fraud here. And it's a struggle. It's a struggle to look at others and compare yourself when you're doing and talking about completely different things. But it's that inherent nature within us where we have to compare ourselves. Mm-hmm. And for me, that has been a big struggle to not do. I still do it. I'm certainly not like perfect by any means. I text friends all the time, like, "Hey, am I crazy for feeling this way?" And they're like, "No, you're passionate," or, "No, you're having a bit of a rough day, and like you keep pushing and you're growing and everything's great." And that may be true, but it's really hard in the moment when you feel like like you're just not doing enough, even though you're putting your blood, sweat, and tears into it. I mean, even now, I still feel like I don't do enough, despite the fact that I have a podcast, I stream, I write articles on my Patreon, and I have written articles in the past. It's like 4 things, and I'm like, God, I don't do enough. And I can do better.
It's very true, because one of the things and it's really hard, I think, for a lot of people's egos to get over the fact that when you start something like content creation, and I'll just use myself as an example. I've been doing content creation for Magic for, I want to say, maybe almost 5 years, because I've been only doing my podcast for almost 4 years now. Before that, I was writing articles too, mainly like deck guides and stuff, mainly about EDH. And and it's really hard that I've been doing this for this many years, and then you see someone come along and they may have only started their YouTube channel or podcast, whatever, for a couple months, and then you see them like skyrocket and blow up, and you're like, what am I doing wrong? It's like,
yeah.
And it's something that is probably one of the hardest things to accept, that not everyone's growth is going to be the same, and you may never get lucky enough to where you're going to quote unquote blow up like other people.
It takes a lot of different factors. And I'm thankful that I've been able to get to where I am now. Mm-hmm. From where I was, because I remember when I first was started on Twitter, I made a tweet joke like a random like hashtag like tweet joke. I wasn't really in the community. I had like maybe 100 followers, and then that tweet got like 700 likes and just blew up. And then from there, it was just kind of like an upward sort of climb.
Yeah.
It certainly hasn't always been the easiest thing. Like very early on, I was featured in an unsleeved media video, and
Oh God.
that felt some type of way. And I was a baby in the whole like Twitter scene too,
Yeah.
so it was like a lot. But I've also seen some fantastic growth in terms of like the content I do, my like handle, brand, whatever you want to call it. I just like to see the fact that people, kind of enjoy what I do. And I know it's gonna sound really mushy, but on my most recent stream, I got like super emotional and I started like crying live on stream because it just, I don't know, the fact that people want to see me succeed in any small aspect, the fact that, they would do something like very small as like donate like $1 just to
Yeah.
help me get towards an emote fund, like the small thing like that, it impacts me so much. I wouldn't be here without any of the people who watch my streams or on Patreon, even just like my tweets. Like I really would not be here. I wouldn't be doing this with you because they have provided for me so much, not only in terms of like, hey, like I really want my podcast to be better. I really would love to get a mic. Help me get the mic. Like it's not even just in that aspect, but the fact that it is a sense of community that I was setting out to find.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that people want to have that with me and see me, rise, however small,
and it's a
however
strange
long
feeling,
it takes.
right? Because
It is.
and I don't know about
Because
you, but I had a similar thing, back on my birthday back in August where I had, I just tweeted out something like, hey, it's my birthday or whatever, and I had so much outpour from my little community where, people wishing me well and all this stuff.
Yeah.
And, it really makes you think like, holy shit, there are people that, like me and care about me and want to see me succeed. And it's, to me, I'm very similar. I'm very self-critical. I'm my harshest critic. There's a lot of times I feel like I don't deserve anything and all that stuff. And so when I see that, my immediate reaction is to shut down and be like, no, you're lying, or, I don't believe you or anything like that. So it's, as I've gotten older, I try to accept it. There's still times where I'm like, yeah, you're full of shit, whatever.
Yeah.
But it's, it is nice to see. And it's tough. It's, to accept praise, I guess it's hard to still.
It's harder than accepting criticism.
Yeah, because criticism.
It really is.
Because criticism,
you can be like, yeah, man, I am shit.
Yeah,
You're
exactly.
right.
I was just about to say the same thing. Like, oh yeah, your podcast sucks. I'm like, yeah, I know this.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. I mean, you're not
So,
telling
like,
me
hearing
anything
people-
I don't know.
Yeah, so like when you hear people like praise what you do, you're like, well, I don't know what you're talking about, friend. But like for me, like one of the biggest moments for me that made me feel like fantastic, not besides like me crying on stream
Yeah.
and people reaching out when my tire literally like ripped off my car, was when I was at Open in Richmond, and I had someone come up and they're like, hey, can you sign my growth spiral? And that was like
that's awesome.
super awesome for me. I felt so, and then it showed up on coverage too. And so someone was like, Chase, you made it on coverage. And I was like, oh, and it was just my signature. And that was great. And I've actually had some people reach out because I've been like, yeah, I'm going to Star City Atlanta. I'm going to Star City Con. I've had a couple of people be like, yeah, like when I see you there, I want you to sign some cards for me. And I'm like, that for me, like, is like up here. Like that is like the end all be all for me. Like I kid you not. Like it doesn't matter how many followers I have. It doesn't matter like how well my Twitch is or my YouTube is. The fact that somebody wants my weird signature on a piece of cardboard just like thrills me.
Yeah,
like even if it's only like 2 people, I'm like, holy crap, that's 2 people who want my signature.
Yeah,
That's so great.
I remember last year when Channel Fireball was doing the Spell Slingers for content creators. I went to Grand Prix Dallas and I was featured there, and I was just really thinking, I really hyped myself up to thinking, oh, no one's gonna show up, no one's gonna even want to like meet me or anything. The entire time that I was there, I was like busy with people for the 4 hours I was supposed to appear, quote unquote, and I'm just thinking to myself, holy shit, I didn't even have a break. And I signed some cards, and I'm like thinking, this is the weirdest, just like you think, this is like the weirdest experience ever. Someone wants my
Yeah.
fucking signature and all that.
Yeah.
It was really cool. And, it's humbling too, in a sense,
Yeah.
where you don't realize, sometimes you don't even realize the impact you may have on people. Where, and I retweeted something out the other day where, you may have, even though you may not hear from a lot of people, you may have silent fans, right?
Yeah.
People who cheer you on no matter what, but they may never talk to you or anything, but they
Yeah.
love listening and watching your stuff all the time. And, that kind of makes me feel better about it too,
Yeah.
because, I look at my podcast downloads. Obviously someone's downloading it and listening to it. They may never talk to me,
Hmm.
but someone's out there listening to it. So
Yeah. It's a great feeling. Like I was streaming the other night and an anonymous person like cheered like 1,000 bits and I was like, holy crap. That's
see,
cool.
what are the bits? Are how much are bits or whatever? Like,
So like it's like bits are like it's like a weird way to describe it. So they're like little like yay, like little cheers.
yeah.
They're kind of like little like digital Twitch coins. So like
Oh, okay.
certain amount of dollars get you a certain amount of bits and you can share however many amount of bits you want to a streamer and that goes towards their revenue. So if you're like, God, like I don't really have enough
Okay.
to like subscribe, like I'll like cheer for them
Well,
instead.
I should look at how many bits I've been cheered at before, because I know I've had people cheer me bits, and I would always be like, "Yay, cool bits!" I don't know what they're for.
Yeah, that's money.
Okay, okay,
Yeah. So like stuff like that just like means the world to me. The fact that people want to like help contribute to something, no matter how small it is for me, is like fantastic. Like I don't have it next to me right here, but I have a notebook filled with all like my magic stuff.
yeah.
And I have a list of people who like helped me like get my microphone, who helped me get my keyboard, who
Oh,
like
that's
helped
cool.
me like who like are on my Patreon. And as soon as my tokens are done, I'm sending them out signed tokens. It feels very weird to do that because I'm like that makes me I think of myself as like being like, oh, that's like me being like very self-absorbed that people would want that from me, but like I don't
Yeah,
know, and I keep beating myself about that. So I'm really like I don't want it to come across as vain, but I'm like, like this is something that's really cute and means something to me, and like yeah, like I'm not a grinder, so I'm not on the scene. You're not gonna see me a lot, So like
yeah,
stuff like that. But like the fact that I have had the kind of growth I've had despite not being that is kind of shocking. So I'm
and
like, you know what? I'm gonna kind of do this. The fact that like people want that is like fantastic. So I was like, you know what? Like, because I was originally just gonna be like, whenever I'm in an event, I'll hand them out. But I'm like, the people who have helped me in times of need, in terms of just emotional need, times where I'm like so sad, like when my car,
hmm,
my tire broke, I was just like an absolute wreck. And like I would just have these like sweetest kindness messages, private messages, follow messages of people being just talking to me and worrying about me. Stuff like that means the world to me. And so like I want to give back, and even if it's like in a small little way, like here's a little token. If you want it, I hope you do. Something like that to me is just like it just like it's really impactful to me. And so I kind of want to, you know, give back, not in the way that's like, here, give back, but like, y'all have done something amazing for me. The least I can do is something like this. And that's kind of what I want to do. So as soon as they're in and done, I have my notebook full of people that
well,
I'm just going to be
awesome.
just sending stuff out to. uh, Signed or unsigned, whatever they want. It's a little 1/1 black fairy because it's the fairy from Bitter Blossom. So
Well, that's awesome.
yeah.
That's awesome. It's it always feels good. It's like if I had never, I've met some of my really good friends doing content creation here. I do the other podcast, 10th Street Hooligans, with John Dunning, Pixie Kitten, Johnny Slivers, and Coach. And if it wasn't for doing this podcast, I would have never met them, and I wouldn't have met. Heck, I never would be talking to you right now, or talking to any of the people I've interviewed. And
Yeah.
I sort of love this because every time I go to a Grand Prix or an Open, whenever I do get a chance to go, I can start meeting up with other content creators and
Yeah.
talking to them, and it's fun. It's a fun time, and it's a crazy thing we do, and
Mhm.
it can be very exhausting, but also very rewarding at the same time,
Yeah.
because a lot of times you always have to feel like you're on. That's why I don't stream too much, because if I don't think people want to see me how I really am when I'm playing Magic Arena, because most of the time I'm just sort of like sitting there like, yep, click.
Yeah.
I'm not very, I feel like I'm not very entertaining per se.
Yeah,
When it comes to Arena.
I have a bit of an entertainer personality. So like for me, like if I'm like not playing, like if I'm not streaming while playing Arena, I'm gonna be the exact same way, except that I'm not gonna be like talking 24/7. I'll still have my same reactions. Like when someone wins, someone loses, I'm like, you know,
Yeah.
like in your face. Like I'm like really animated about that, even when I'm by myself. So for me, the streaming aspect kind of for me is fun because it's just like the
Sort
weird
of
thing
like
about
a
like having,
release or something for you.
well, not even like that. It's just like I really like having that I don't know, like that conversation with people. I know it sounds
Yeah.
I can't really put my finger on it. But when I stream, I'm on, but it's not a disingenuous sort of on. It's like
I see what you mean.
be I can be my animated self and happy self in the comfort and privacy of my own home, but still have that interaction with people,
Yeah.
you know? So it's like I can play, I can be goofy, I can be silly, and you know, people choose to see that. It's not like, oh, like I'm gonna watch Chase. I really hope to God she's not being a fucking weirdo, and then I'm just being a fucking weirdo.
See,
I mean,
that's
like,
what my podcast is for me. It's
yeah,
where I can, and I'm not really being on per se, but it's just, having conversations with people like you,
yeah,
and or even when I do my solo episodes where I talk to myself for an hour talking about magic or whatever, and then by the time I'm done, it's like I don't even know what I said at that
yeah.
point.
For me, it just gives me that chance to be myself, the
Hmm.
social
Yeah.
version of myself, in a way that is still relaxing for me because I don't know, I really like streaming. I like having that entertainer thing. It's fun. It's very fun for me to just be like goofy and silly and talking to you. My favorite thing to do is interact with chat. That's my favorite thing to do. I love to ask them about their day, talk to them about spoilers. I love having them help me choose cards in a draft. Like that was my first stream was I was like, we're drafting. I don't want this to be like where you watch me draft. I want you to choose my cards and we're going to play the deck we built together. That was what I like to do because I like having that interaction because
Yeah.
yeah, I'm just starting out. I'm a baby streamer. My stream like view counts are slowly rising. I finally got a raid for the first time in forever. It was small, but I was like, "Oh my God, a raid." Like for
Yeah.
me, like having like that group of people interact with me, it's fun because it's like, like I see your name, you want to talk, you want to be there, you're not just lurking. If you're looking, that's fine too. I understand. But like the interaction piece is what I really like because I see a lot of streamers, in any aspect, whether it be in Magic or any other game, who will just play the game, they'll be playing and they'll be quiet. And they'll be doing this. They'll be like,
Yep.
all right, cool. I see that chat says there's a new mod coming out. I'll just keep going like that. And like I don't like that. Like I want to be stupid, I want to be silly. I want to talk to you, I want to interact with you. Like I don't even care in any aspect. How was your day? What did you do? What are you excited for these cards? Like even when I did my first like stream where I played music, I was like, I really want to like interact with chat. If you want a song recommendation, donate any amount. Small as $1, as much as you want, however you want, doesn't matter. I'll play the song. And like I like got some cool new music like I learned about the other day and like songs that I knew that I didn't even know I knew. And like it was that interaction for me is the most important part about streaming. It does for me, you talk and yes, but for
Yeah.
me it's that right there is what matters the most, is that you are your most genuine self. Because at the end of the day, if you donate, cool. If you don't, also cool. But I want to have fun.
Hmm.
I wouldn't stream if it wasn't fun for me. There are days where I just like stream for the hell of it. Like when my classes is canceled, I'm like, I could do homework or I could stream. So I'll just like pick it up. Like for me, it is that chance where I can show you that I'm more than a username, that I'm more than Manacurves, that I'm more than just a girl who plays Magic on the internet. I'm a person who has shared interests and I want to talk about them with you. I'm interested in what you do in your day, and you're interested in my day. There have been times where I've cried in front of you, where I've expressed frustrations to you about things that have happened in front of me, and it is humanizing to see streamers. I think because it puts yeah, you have a Twitter avatar, you have your
Yeah.
face, you see my face on there,
Hmm.
but you have that, you hear my voice, you see my expressions, you see when I get excited,
Yeah,
you see
you
when
get
I
to
get
see how you
sad.
actually are, and
Yeah, it shows you that
it's not
I'm
scripted or
real.
anything. Yeah.
Yeah, which I know sounds very weird, I'm real, but like when you really think about it, we as individuals are so, in our own box of our life.
Hmm.
What we see is our movie, our experience. We're the main character of our TV show. So when you see other people, you're like, oh, cool, it's another character in the TV show, or you see them for face value. And I think stuff like streaming helps kind of show you depth past that, in any sort of aspect. Even in podcasts too, but you don't see this. You don't see my joy, my frustration. You
Yeah.
don't see me when I get sad. I mean, like, yeah, people haven't seen me cry up until recently, but I cry. Like, you don't get to see me.
Yeah.
On Twitter, you get to see what I want to show you, which is, me in a, pretty selfie posing, my wins. But on stream, you see my losses. You see the process I go with making this happen. Sometimes I have glitches. You see me
You see the
and what I
imperfections.
do. Yeah.
You don't see the, and that's always one of the downsides of social media. Everybody always wants to show the good,
We want to show our best self.
show the perfect life and everything.
Yes.
And I see where you're coming from with that. Yeah, for sure. And it's, and maybe, you hit on a point. Maybe that's a reason why I don't like streaming, because I don't want people to see my imperfect self, because I always hold myself up to such a high standard, and
Yeah.
or I just feel like maybe I'm just really boring too, because
I mean, for me, I streaming was something I felt like I was incapable of, and I'm doing
yeah.
it now, and I'm finding out that I love it. But I mean, even like here right now, like I'm, tank top, I have no makeup on.
Hmm.
I'm exhausted. It's been a long day. We're recording this at midnight right now,
Oh my
at
god, it
least in
already
my
is
time
past.
zone.
No,
Yes,
it's
it
past
is.
midnight for me. Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
so like for me, this is like I'm just like I didn't even know that. Honest to God, I'm so sorry. I expected this to just be audio, and so the fact that it's video, I was like, you know
Oh
what?
no, I'm
Fuck
sorry.
it.
I should
I'm
have
gonna be
mentioned that.
facial. You're fine. It
It's
doesn't matter. Like it's not gonna like impact me negatively. I mean, like this is my genuine self. I stream usually with makeup on because makeup makes me feel happy, and I like
yeah.
doing that, and that's an artistry for me. But most of the time, I wake up, shower in the morning, put on clothes, go to school. I look just like this: hair in a ponytail, glasses, tank top, sports bra, go to school. Go
Hmm.
to work, same thing. I mean, like this is me a lot of the time. Like I love to do makeup, but with my busy schedule, sometimes I don't have the time to do it. So it's really just, honestly, I kind of like it because it kind of shows, like I'm not always like the straightened hair because my hair is like super wavy with like like the eyebrows without me doing my makeup. I have very like light
Yeah.
eyebrows. They're not like filled in. I don't have my mascara on, so it looks like I'm like really weird with my eyes. You can see the bags under my eyes. Like I'm just like, this is me.
This is Chase. This is you right here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is. It's just sort of like this weird, awkward, odd person who like laughs weird and I like to describe myself as chaotic, which is a very weird way to describe it. But if you ask anybody at my LGS, Mike and Jose specifically will, attest to the fact that I am a absolute fucking weirdo in real life with no filter.
Yeah, and
I am
I mean,
very weird.
I think a lot of us are. It's
Yeah.
especially when we're around friends and being able to relax and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But no, and that's good, and that's probably what draws a lot of people to you is you can show your genuine self like that, and
Hmm.
and and I feel like that's what for content creators, it's easy when starting off to sort of put on a face and put on
Yeah.
be an entertaining, well, not to be an entertainer, but to sort of put on a facade like that.
Yeah.
But now I feel like we're getting to a point where people don't want the fakeness anymore. People want actual people, actual how they actually are, right? And I feel people are more attracted to the genuineness when people showcase that. And people don't want just a happy-go-lucky person, because not everybody's happy all the time, right? I mean,
Yeah.
not everyone's like that all the time. And if you are happy 24/7, I want to know what you're doing. And
Yeah. Yeah. So that's kind of when when looking at content creation, I really started out as wanting to be that sort of like, I'm pretty, I'm perfect, I play Magic,
yeah.
like, because that was what, I didn't know what to do. And
Hmm.
I kind of got to the point where I'm like, I want to express myself. And so I started doing that more. I started being vocal about my opinions. And it's been kind of great. Like, I didn't expect it to, take me anywhere. I just wanted to be myself. And in Magic, I can be myself. I can be loud. I can be, excited. I can be passionate. I can be strong.
Hmm.
In many moments of my life where I felt very weak, or I've been viewed as weak, where I've felt unsafe in situations where now I feel like I would be an advocate. Stuff like that for me is kind of important.
Yeah.
And as I feel like has led me to where I am now, is that now in Magic has kind of strengthened my resolve as a person, and therefore I continue to be strong in the community. So now when instead of like when people, it's like, for instance, like I had somebody recently say something very sexist towards me, I looked at him and I was like, are you fucking kidding me, dude? I was like, that was not a okay thing to say. Whereas
Yeah.
in the past I would have been like really quiet, I would have said nothing, I would have gone home, I would have cried about it. And like, I mean, like,
So
that's not an exaggeration. Like, for me, that's just, no,
so
you don't say that.
well, yeah. But do you consider that being, you speaking up like that, do you feel that's more because of you just playing Magic, or because you're starting to be more doing content creation and speaking out more?
Not even it's not even like that. It's just, my self-worth is often tied to external things.
Hmm.
My appearance, how well I am at content creation, how well I play the game, am I a good player, stuff like that. And it got to the moment where I realized that, and this because I'm really like self-absorbed, but I'm kind of awesome. Like, I know that sounds weird, or well, self-absorbed or
Hmm.
what have you, but like there gets to be a point where I was telling this person, like, I had sat down, I played Magic with him before, everything was fine. I looked at this person and I said, you know what? I'm really excited. I just hit because this was at a moment where I just hit 4,000 followers. I was like, I just hit 4,000 followers on Twitter. I don't use my Instagram, but I have like 3,000 there. And, I have a podcast, I'm writing these articles, and I'm a sponsored player now. That's awesome. And I said all these accomplishments that I was proud of. Like, I was proud in that moment that
Hmm.
me being this person who is so self-critical and insecure with herself in many aspects of my life. I feel inadequate at times. And for me to like be like, I am proud, and to have someone look at me and basically say to me, you have only succeeded because you're a woman. And he didn't say it in that way. He said it in a little bit of a cruder way,
Yeah.
with a hand gesture or so. But that crushed me. It really crushed me to have something that I have worked hard at, and something that I'm passionate about and I spend money to do, kind of just tossed aside as, sheer luck, because, you're the girl who plays Magic, and that's why that's why you're successful. That's why you're sponsored, because you have boobs and you play. And that felt horrible
Did you
to
say
me.
anything to him? Because that's,
Yeah. I like stared at him. I was dumbfounded for a second, to be completely honest. I just stared at him. I was like, what the?
Yeah.
I had nothing was coming out, and it was in a 4 pod of Commander, and I had the other two players were my friends, and they stared at him, and they both kind of spoke up, and they went, "What the fuck? That's some." And my friend was like, "That's some sexist ass shit." And I looked at him, and because of them, I was able to sort of find my voice again
Mm-hmm.
out of the sheer moment where I was like, the silence had stopped, and I was like, I literally looked at him. I'm like, that's not okay. I literally was like, what the fuck? That's not okay. And he was like, I'm so sorry. Like it just came out of my mouth. I like didn't think. And I'm like, no, it doesn't matter. The fact that you took my accomplishments
And
and you
invalidated
diminished
them.
them.
Yeah.
Yeah, it felt horrible. And after that experience, I streamed like maybe 2 days later, and I was talking about it on stream just because it was still impacting me so much that I just kind of like word vomited
Mm-hmm.
on stream, and I was tearing up a little bit. Like this was something that made me feel horrible because I cannot, you know, I can't control like this. My
Yeah.
it's who I am. I play Magic. I'm a woman, and it was very horrible to see that somebody felt that the minimal amount of success I had could only be attributed to the fact that I was being viewed as a sexual object for others' enjoyment, I
Yeah.
guess.
And
And
not
that
because of the
felt,
hard work you've put into
yeah,
it,
yeah.
I mean,
And
it's not like you're busting your butt, to try to get to where you're at, it's,
yeah,
and that's what frustrates me. It's, and, that frustrates me. And I'm not saying I understand where you're coming from, but a lot of people
yeah,
don't see the behind the scenes stuff that goes on. No one
yeah.
understands. Like people who aren't in content creation and, especially where you've gotten, just don't see what you all have to deal with behind the scenes. They
There,
just see the glitz and glam and all that, and they don't see the hard work behind it.
there's a lot of pain, and not it's like that sounds like really horrible, but like there's a lot of like, I'm not good enough. This thing I'm writing, someone's already done it before.
Mm-hmm.
Who cares if I write another article about Commander? Everyone's interested in competitive play. Why
Oh
would
yeah.
anybody
Oh yeah.
care about what
Well,
I'm doing?
see, that's
And
exactly how I feel about this podcast, where it's, I know it's never going to be the number one podcast because I don't talk about competitive play, right?
yeah,
It's I like to do interviews. I like to talk to people like you, and I like to do my solo episodes where talk about random shit. So yeah, keep going. I understand.
so yeah, for me, I'm already my own biggest critic, and so having, I don't know, it's weird, because I myself constantly tell myself, like this isn't good, I'm not good, everything's bad, other people are doing better than me, like all these different things. But like when you and I it's unfortunately it's a very difficult thing to describe unless you've been in the situation where you are like, I am working hard. I think my camera just like tilted
Yeah.
sideways for like no reason. What the hell? I like noticed. I'm like,
Yeah, I
what the
thought you moved it
fuck?
for a second. I'm like, what?
No, stop it. Jeez, my camera hates me. Stop it. No, this is horrible. Okay, we're just gonna leave it there.
No, that's okay.
But but like to have someone like look at you and be like, because of this aspect about yourself that is a part of you that you can't change, uh, that is the reason why you're succeeding. Not because of the hard work you put in, but because this small aspect of you, that, people like that has nothing to do with what you're doing. That's why people like you. And, you would think, oh, well, like they're saying people like you. Like, no, they're saying that you would not have this success if you were different in this way. For me, it's a very invalidating feeling to have someone look at you and say, you know what? If I was a woman, I'd be super popular. Like if I'm like, I'm doing the same thing as you are, but if I was in your shoes, I'd be the same place or something like that. Like it's a very invalidating feeling to kind of have your success equated to, like a really crappy reason.
Yeah, and I'm
And
sorry
I'm,
you have to deal with that because it's like I'm sure, and I mean I don't know, it's like, as I saw something else that I think you posted another week, like you posted a playmat or something, and then I saw like there was a whole bunch of hate with that, and it's like, I don't know. I guess what I don't understand, like, I can actually, because I know when I was younger, it's like, trolling on the internet, it's easy to do, but then it's, I don't know. I guess I just don't understand why people just waste the time, or even just like, because I saw that hate thread that you posted about, and it's just, why? Who cares? Like,
Yeah.
like I said earlier, where, just because you and I may not agree on everything, or I may not like your opinions, like, who cares? It's like, why? I don't get it.
I
I don't understand.
With that
Like,
one
why people
playmat,
do that.
I wanted to take a situation where I have been asked that, or
Yeah,
sexist
yeah.
things have been said towards me, and kind of turn it on its head.
Mm-hmm.
One thing about my personality, and I feel like you can kind of see this on stream, but you have to really know me, is that I like to joke all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And this could sound like I'm being like very self-absorbed, but like my old roommates are like, they're like, you're the funniest person we know, and I'm like, you need to know more people. But so I really like to like turn situations into humorous ones if at all possible. And so for me, that was what I was doing. Is I bought a playmat. I was having a bad night. Literally, I bought the playmat after I had that interaction with that guy who told me that, I am only successful at what I do because I have breasts. And I was like, I'm gonna buy this playmat because it would make me feel better. I was like, this is funny. I want to make it a funny situation. I ordered it sitting at the table right across from him. I was like, I want this. Because I wanted to turn it into a situation that I felt empowered by.
Yeah.
That like, yeah, you have this view of me, and you may have this view of me. I'm still gonna beat you. You may or may not have it. I'm still going to try and win. So for me, that was kind of like my take on it. So for me, that's kind of why I bought it. And some people turned it around into a negative
Yeah.
thing. But, I still love that playmat. I've used it many times at my LGS. I switched back to Chandra because I'm in the Chandra headspace because I'm building my Chandra Tribal EDH.
Oh yeah, I
But
saw
I
you
still
post
carry
that.
that playmat around with me in my backpack, and I will whip it
Good
out
for
whenever
you.
I want to.
Yeah. Good for you, because
It's very weird to have like a playmat be sort of like a social sort of like issue. I didn't really
yeah,
understand the whole like thing with that, but I still stand by that I love that playmat. I will not stop using it, and if you want to buy it, it's on Inked Gaming. If you
Oh,
really want
well,
the playmat,
oh, good for
look it
you.
up. It's on Inked Gaming.
Good
It's a
for you.
steal. It's very good.
No, well, I think that about ends it here for us. It's been almost 2 hours here, and
Yeah, it's been a
it's
lot.
12:30. And now I just want to thank you a lot for coming and just like
Yeah.
shooting the breeze with me. It's
Yeah,
been
of
a lot of
course.
fun. Really appreciate it. Where can people find you? And or before discussing that, do you have any projects coming up you want to tease, or anything like that, or
Yeah.
anything like that, or anything you're
Yeah,
working
so
on?
I have a couple things I'm working on actually. One of them is coming up in October. It is something to do with lore. And it'll be a very interesting thing to see.
Okay.
Because I really don't want to like spoil it too much, but
Well,
I
I
have
will say, as of this
I've hired
recording,
somebody to help. I've hired somebody to help with my appearance on the
oh, okay,
video, and
okay.
that is all I will say about that.
Well, I will say this episode will be coming out because it's not next Friday. It'll be the 11th. So when this releases,
Awesome.
it'll be October 11th. So I
Perfect.
don't know if
Mine
if it will come out before then or after that.
probably late October, early November, depending on the time I have going on
Okay.
this. It's like a passion thing I want to do, and it came up randomly, and I'm trying to like get everything set up for it. But
Okay.
that's coming up. I'm also doing some fun collabs with people for EDH stuff, so that'll be in the
Ooh,
future. Yeah,
nice.
I'm really excited about that. Doing some voice stuff too. That's coming up
Ooh,
too.
that's cool.
Which is really cool. And then as for where you can find me, it's very easy. I'm Manacurves everywhere. You got Twitter, Manacurves, Instagram, Manacurves, Twitch, Manacurves, YouTube, Manacurves. Working on that MySpace account. But everywhere is Manacurves.
Well,
Literally every website I have claimed that title. It is mine. You can rip it
easy to
from my
find.
cold dead hands.
No, that's good. It's easy to find. So,
Yeah.
no, I just want to thank you again for coming on. Really appreciate
Yeah.
it. And no, just have a great night. All right.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Hey, everybody, and thanks for listening and watching the episode. I really hope you enjoyed it. It was, as I said, an amazing interview with Chase, aka Manacurves, and I think she is an all around really awesome human being. And if you are not checking out her content or watching her stream or her YouTube channel, just following her on Twitter, please go do yourself a favor and go follow her. Very, very well worth it. And just, I think she deserves it because she's a very awesome human. So I hope you enjoyed the episode. If you want to reach out to me for anything, you can find me on facebook.com/magicwithzuby, on Twitter at magicwithzuby, on Instagram at magic_with_zuby. You can email me with any questions you may have at mtgzuby@gmail.com. This show can be found on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, and TuneIn Radio, and now Spotify, and also on YouTube. Just search Magic with Zuby on YouTube. If you want to help support the show in any way possible, you can check out the show's Patreon at patreon.com/magicwithzuby. And you can also check out my sponsor, legitmtg.com. They've been sponsoring us for almost going on 4 years and just, I think, about 5 or 6 months now. So yeah, that's it. I hope you all enjoyed the show and have a great night. All right.